The next thing we're going to dive into in this section is understand the different parameters or functions that are provided by Midjourney that we can use to further customize our image. These include concepts such as aspect ratio, quality of the image, stopping an image using the stop parameter, stylizing the image, which basically determines the overall composition and form and how creative we want it to be, the seed parameter, chaos parameter, and the tile parameter. Now, starting with aspect ratio basically is a term that's used to describe the proportional relationship between the width and height of an image, a video, or a display screen. This is a terminology commonly used in different screens. This is something you could have seen when you're buying a monitor or a TV as well. For example, a 4:3 aspect ratio means that the width of the image is 4 units and the height is 3 units. This is a common aspect ratio used in older television screens. A 16:9 aspect ratio is a wider rectangular shape and is commonly used in modern widescreen displays, probably like the one that you're using right now. Aspect ratio is an important consideration when creating or viewing content, as it can affect the overall composition and visual impact of an image or video. Different aspect ratios can also affect how content is displayed on different devices, and that makes a huge difference. Now, some of the common aspect ratios used are 1:1, which means the height and the width will be the same, commonly used in social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook. 4:3 is the standard aspect ratio for older TV screens, like we discussed. 16:9 is the modern TV screen. 21:19 is the ultra-wide aspect ratio used for computer monitors and cinema screens to provide an immersive viewing experience. 5:4 is a common aspect ratio for computer monitors as well. 3:2 is mainly used in cameras of 35 mm film format. Now let's go to Midjourney, create an image and try different aspect ratios on it. So let's start with the basic prompt. Let's say a muscular robotic futuristic Batman, futuristic angry Batman. So I've assigned a couple of different adjectives and adverbs to Batman in this case because I wanted to create a high quality image which has a lot of things happening in it. And let's see what the algorithm produces for us. And now our image is ready as expected. It's showing a robotic futuristic Batman that looks angry. Now let me assign a specific aspect ratio to the same prompt. So whenever you're working with parameters, what you have to do is type dash dash. So these two dash means that I'm about to use a parameter now. So that's how you signal Midjourney that I'm about to assign a parameter to this image by writing dash dash. And we'll write AR for aspect ratio, leave a space, and let's say 1:1, 1:1. And then I'll use the same prompt, and this time I'll do 3:4, and then lastly I'll generate the same image in 16:9 to show you how different aspect ratios change the overall image. So the images are ready, and as you see, the first one we did 1:1, and this is the default setting for version 5 as well, where the height and the width are exactly the same. The second one we did was 3:4, so I expect my height to be slightly greater than the width of the image. And that's what we see here. If you look at any one of these images, this is our width and this is our height, and you see it shows a mobile sort of a dimension, mobile screen sort of a dimension, where my height is slightly higher than my width. And the last one I tried was 16 by 9, which essentially means my width to height ratio is 16 by 9, and that's clearly visible here that the width of this image is much bigger than the height of the image. So now the aspect ratio is important because depending on the type of use of the final output that you're creating, you can adjust the aspect ratio. For instance, if I'm creating an image that would be used in a landscape format for the landing page of the website, I would go with a landscape aspect ratio of 16 by 9. On the other hand, if I'm creating an image for, let's say, a mobile phone cover for an iPhone, then 3 by 4 would be a much better aspect ratio in that case because I want to put it up on a mobile phone. Similarly, if I'm generating images for Instagram ads or Facebook post, then I would go with 1:1 because that's what the platform supports. An important thing to note about aspect ratio is that it's not the same thing as resolution. They're two very distinct concepts in the field of digital imaging. While aspect ratio describes the proportional relationship between the width and height of an image and is typically expressed as a ratio. Resolution, on the other hand, refers to the number of pixels that make up an image or screen and is typically expressed as the total number of pixels horizontally and vertically, such as 1920 by 1080. Although these concepts are related, but they're very different from each other. Whereas the aspect ratio determines the overall shape and composition of an image or screen, resolution determines the level of detail and clarity of the visual content. So it is important that we understand the difference between the two concepts so that we can properly create and display and manipulate the different images that we're creating here. The next thing I want to cover is quality, for which the parameter to use in Midjourney is --quality or --q. And quality is essentially responsible for determining the time spent generating an image. So how these images are generated is that we sent a prompt and then the machine learning algorithm supporting this runs this on a processor and outputs the job. The more time we give to these GPU processors to process the image, the higher quality image it can produce. But it comes as a trade-off. A higher quality image will take more time and will take more GPU power, and therefore it will cost more. Whereas on the other hand, a low quality image will take less GPU power and have a lower cost to it. So if you would have noticed in the prompts that I've been running so far, the quality has been 0.5. And I specifically did this so that the images are rendered faster as I work around with you in generating different prompts. So now I just type //settings and it shows me a row where I can define the quality. So it's half quality, base quality, high quality. I can change the quality from here as well if I want. And let's say I want to run the same prompt as above, but with a different quality setting. So let's say we want to run this, but this time we're going to run it with base quality of 1. And then we can run the same prompt with a quality of 2. Now these two will take considerably more time compared to the one that we generated with half quality, but the overall composition and resolution and the image will be much better because we are assigning more time to the processor, to the GPUs, and processing and creating an image from the prompts that we provided. Now we have created the 3 images using the 3 different qualities, and to review them, this is the first one, which was the lowest quality, still a very good image and has a lot of things happening in it. But if we go forward and we compare it with the next one, you see there are a lot more description and distinctive features added to this image versus the previous one. The size of the different things that has been added to the suit have completely changed, and there is a lot more details that have gone into the image, and the overall quality looks a lot better. And then if we move down to quality 2, this is even better, especially if you see the first one. It looks like a very realistic image, a futuristic realistic image of an angry Batman with a lot of details added in the suit, from the bat symbol to the arms. And in this way, as we keep increasing the quality from half to 1 to 2, you see that the image processing time that the GPU takes is a lot more, and therefore it is able to add more details and descriptions, increasing the overall quality and aesthetics of the image that it produces.